gorgeous people. Welcome to another Galactic Mayan Astrology report. So this is a report for the 2nd of September 2020, and the Wavespell that we are moving into is the energy of Red Earth. So what's Red Earth? Okay, so we've got red, and all of the red signs are about awakening. It's a fiery sign, it's a fiery energy. And for me, Red Earth is really about finding our way of authentically operating in the world. So when we talk about this idea of grounding, for me it's really about embodiment. It's about reconnecting to the way that human beings used to navigate reality before we became so mind focused, before we became so attached to routine and regularity and expectation. So whether we want to tune into it or not, we're living a very organic existence. We're living within a realm of change, and human beings feel pretty uncomfortable with that, myself included. And we try to consistently create stability. So we want to know that we get up on a morning and that's what we do, and that's where we go, and that's going to function, you know, without us having to do very much. It's like, no, we expect that to be the case. But obviously this time on planet Earth, it's like, okay, so imagine all of that goes to shit, then what happens? And yeah, so we really struggle with change. We really struggle with that feeling of stability. So we try and find a box. We try and find a box to be our safe place. We try and find an identity to be our safe place. And what is happening on the planet now is that all of those old identities are unraveling or are revealing themselves to be inauthentic. And what we're really invited to do as human beings, and especially with the complement of the Red Earth energy, is to find out who we really are. So like, who are you when you're not mum or dad? Who are you when you're not like spouse or friend? Who are you when you're not your professional self? You know, like when all of that's stripped away, like who are you really? And how permitted are you to show up in all areas of your life as that authentic person? Now, the other piece with Red Earth is that we kind of go deeper than just the this is me here and now, conditioned by this lifetime. You know, when it strips back to that authentic self, there's a primal energy within that. There's a old new awareness that is part of our authentic makeup. And you know, we really get to access that authenticity, that ancient authenticity, that primal authenticity, when we are in the space of receptor as opposed to controller. So when we kick back and let go and allow ourselves to be guided to where our next step is, that's really the awareness of every living being on the planet. It's only humans that try to control. Everything else kind of goes with the flow. We try and blooming carve a concrete path through things and manipulate and adapt things to make sure that, you know, the weather stays nice or the whatever, you know. It's like what we're birthing within the shadow of human consciousness through unprocessed trauma and wounding is this need to control, this need to manipulate, this need to make sure that everybody does and says everything at the right time in the right way, and if they don't then there's something wrong with them, and all of this bullshit. Because what's actually happening is that we feel really scared by what our authentic reality is, which is that we are working with a force, a different force that is outside of, but also within ourselves. It's outside of our human mind. And what we really get the opportunity to journey with when we're working with Red Earth is, how aligned are we, and how much do we allow the greater cosmic force to be in the driving seat of our experience. And we are part of that. And how do we create a life? How do we create a feeling of stability and safety when we actually allow ourselves to drop out of denial into the idea that we have control and all of that stuff? How do we find safety when we don't have control? How do we find a feeling of stability when everything is unknown and forever changing? These things seem like they are like opposite things that can't be both true, but the reality is that that's what we are here to bring. It's what we're here to birth on the planet, is a holding space for the unknown that doesn't feel secure, that then we build up the muscle of realising that things are actually working in our favour. But the piece to that, which is always the piece for me, is about dismantling, deconditioning all of our trauma from the past, all of the experiences that we had where we were betrayed, the ancestral wound that's been passed down and passed down and passed down, which repeats and repeats and repeats. Because when we're in all of this fear and in all of this pain, we want to create the structures, the identities, the whatever, to attempt to make sure that we're safe. So, when we're working with this Red Earth energy, like it's dropping into a consciousness that's greater than ourselves and allowing that to hold us. And it's incredibly beautiful and synchronistic and poignant, which is always the incredible way that the universe communicates. It's always so poetic that I'm starting to sit a swing right now. And the revelation that I had yesterday when I first sat in this swing, when I got here, was like, wow, this sensation, there's nothing underneath me, but there's something above me, and I can literally completely and utterly let go, and I'm suspended. And so it is with all of our lives. And this is the process of this Red Earth. It's like the settling into the cosmic holding, settling into the swing of life, but recognising what makes us feel ungrounded. So this idea of ungrounded for me is out of centre. When we feel like we're out of centre, so we don't feel fully stable in our body, or we don't feel fully emotionally centred and calm, or we've got mental crazy shit going on. It's like whatever is pulling us out of centre for me is how I interpret, feeling ungrounded. So what do we need to do to feel grounded? And the more that we are our authentic self, the more that we feel safe to be our authentic self and to show up as our authentic self, because we dismantle what's in the way of it, and we put ourselves into the experience that builds the muscle that gets used to it, we're then able to stay centered about more and more and more. We're able to be within our authenticity and hold it, holding ourselves, holding our energy, and showing up, in our truth. And when we're doing that, it's like energetically, when I'm working with somebody on an energetic level, I always see, it's like I can feel the sensation, but it's very difficult to put it into words. But essentially it's like there's an alignment of energy, especially within a person. And we've got these little nuances, and sometimes the nuances come into spikes. because of things that have happened to us that have splayed our energy system out. So as opposed to the energy running really nicely like this, it's kind of, we've got little bumps, but when shit goes down, it's like it becomes really spiky, and then we're not flowing in alignment, and we're not feeling that centered energy. And if you imagine that, like, so everything that we have ever experienced is part of our energy field. So we're in a bubble that is layered with every experience that we've ever had. Our consciousness is anchored to certain layers of this experience. When it's been an extreme thing, you know, whether it's been really high or really difficult, you know, whatever it is, our consciousness is anchored to these like little parts of our field. So put us into a situation that seems to brush up against it, and then all of a sudden that energy, like I say, has gone out to the spike. It's gone out to the spike of this previous experience. We're actually operating from us then, us as 7 years old, us when that happened. You know, we're lost. Our consciousness is no longer in our centre, it's back in the past, which is why it's so important for us to work with, you know, our field, our memories, our experiences, what this human avatar has been through, so that we can then operate from a greater space of alignment, which is automatically tuned into all that is and flowing in alignment with that. So if you don't follow me on social media, I do share quite a bit on Facebook. I've started using Instagram as well. I'm Jyoti offerings on everything. But I've just launched my website again. So within, you know, what I'm bringing now, I feel like I've got very clear in that, you know, really potent shadow work, which is all about the transformation of what happened in the past to our human being self. It's very much working with the human being self, allowing ourselves to grieve and to mourn and to release and to forgive and to let go and to permit all of the different things that we carry from our childhood experience that then blocks our expression. I can support you to move through that. And then I also, as you know, I'm a channel. I work with the Mayan astrology, and I also work with human design, and I also work with oracle cards, and I love working in the psychic realms, and it's always an absolute pleasure to meet with people in that space, because we're meeting in the soul realm then, we're meeting in the spirit realm, we're meeting in the formless. And then I also love to nurture and nourish, especially one-on-one. So I'm offering one-to-one retreats and training. So if you want to learn Reiki, if you want to learn Sekhem, I can take you right through to master teacher level if you want. But really what that's about is like creating the goddess temple space and sharing with you what your soul, what your being, what every layer of your entity is needing to receive in order to support you to fully show up. So there's many different things that are, well, it's not even, it's all the same stuff that I've been doing, but it's just like the clarity is just ding. So have a look on my website, which is jyotiofferings.com, to have a little look. Have a look. To have a see about what it is that I'm offering, and if you do want to reach out and connect and create some magic together, I'd really love that. So I hope that you have a fantastic Wavespell. I hope that you enjoy this process of gridding into you, of gridding into your being, and remembering who you are and who we are and how this bloody reality works. Because we know, we remember. Alright, sweet peas, I will see you very soon. Lots and lots of love.